and welcome to week 7 of the high school football season here on Mirror TV on YouTube. I'm your host, Scott Franco, joined again by our beat writer who covers anything and everything that's high school football, Mike Boydum. And before we get to our list of, I believe, 5 games, we're going to talk a little bit about the Bellwood-Annis Northern Bedford game that had some controversy in it about whether or not a touchdown was scored because somebody's elbow was down. And I believe this is the photo.
Well, Northern Bedford was driving with a chance to tie the game, and this is the photo we got submitted of Dalton Smith and his forearms down there on the 4th down play that Coach Black disputed. It looks like he was actually down on there, so Bellwood came away with the win, and it seems like the referees made a good call.
And also you can see we spared no expense here for graphics, as I am just going to hold up the photo here, and I don't have to hold it up anymore as our director, Dan Osberg's telling me I can put it down now. Well, we're going to sit here and talk about our first game is a matchup, Chestnut Ridge, Bedford, both 6-0. Chestnut Ridge is hosting. Max Shoemaker, who used to coach at Bedford, now a lot of success now at Chestnut Ridge. I don't know who got this game Friday night, but
that's me.
Oh, there you go. Lucky you. I picked Chestnut Ridge because they're home. When you have 2 6-0 teams, that's how I do it. How do you see this game shaping up?
It's just really interesting. Ever since Bedford made the switch to Mercury Swaim at quarterback, they've been really explosive. I watched them against Central Cambria a couple weeks ago, and that game was close at halftime, and then they just turned it on in the second half. It's interesting because both teams have the ability to score from pretty much any point in the field. Logan Feaster of Chestnut Ridge, he can throw, he can run. He's maybe the most all-around player in the Mirrors coverage area, so it should be really interesting. Last year's game, Chestnut Ridge won pretty handily, but I think Bedford's come along a little bit, and Chestnut Ridge lost some key players from last year, so this could be a nice toss-up game.
And the Swaim kid, I can remember him in 7th grade. He was a beast in 7th grade, doing everything. And now as a 10th grader, he's already starring for them. Have you seen Bedford yet this year?
Yeah, I just said it.
Who's bigger? Because you've seen Ridge, right?
Yeah, I'd say Feaster's probably a bigger.
But I mean, as far as line, who would you say?
Oh, the line is actually going to be a key impact in the game, and the line has been really good for Bedford this year. But Chestnut Ridge has Dwayne Nisley, who's obviously a great athlete in track and field as well. Yeah. So it should be, that's where the game's probably going to be won.
And here's another game I'm interested in. Our second game is Guilfoyle at Richland, and if I believe Richland 6-0, BG 5-1. That only loss was the Westmont Hilltop game, correct?
Right.
And BG survived without the Myra kid, who, do we know if he's back yet?
He's supposed to be back this week.
But it doesn't seem like they missed him because this 9th grader, Cooper Rother, who I know I watched him grow up through the Hollidaysburg elementary system, really good athlete, but Richland, I mean, if Richland wins this one easily, then you got to think Richland's got an easy way whole way to that district championship game. What do you see in this game?
They'll have to get through Ligonier Valley too, who's also undefeated, but and Bellwood, who's undefeated. But the problem is BG cannot afford to have 5 turnovers again like they did against Penn Cambria this past week. That just can't happen against Richland. Caleb Burke from Richland has signed with he's a verbal commit to New Hampshire, an FCS school, and Richland has been really good. So BG's going to have to play a perfect game, no turnovers.
Yeah, Richland I believe it's Brandon Bailey. Has really turned them into a powerhouse as coach. Our next game is another good matchup. Claysburg Kimmel, who just played on Monday night, so I'm curious to see. It wasn't a whole game, but they still played. They're going to Juniata Valley, and this was a close game last year in the playoffs.
It was a close game in the regular season and in the playoffs.
What do you expect from this game on Friday?
Yeah, fourth down, the Claysburg got allowed a touchdown to Juniata Valley in the playoffs last year, and the 4th down actually was played 3 different times because of penalties, and then finally Claysburg allowed the touchdown, and Juniata Valley, as we all know, went on to win the district championship. Now, Claysburg has had some injuries. Kobe Haar is kind of in and out, and Zach Claycomb got banged up at the end of Monday's game. So they're going to have all their weapons, because Juniata Valley can play with anyone, as they proved by almost knocking Tussey Mountain off last week. So,
well, I know Nate Ritchie was in our newsroom the other night. He covered the game, and I heard him talking about the Claycomb kid, because I was saying, what other running backs do they have? I guess they have a youngster, and then the fullback is it the Musselman kid, Seth?
yeah.
That kid's a bulldozer.
He's a good linebacker.
Yeah,
well.
number 36. He was a beast. I saw him last year against Northern Bedford, and he ran over people on offense, and he ran over people on defense from his linebacker position. Talk about our next game, which you're going to have two teams trying to run over each other. Harrisburg at State College. State College undefeated 6-0. Harrisburg 5-1. Harrisburg lost.
Harrisburg actually 4-2. They lost to a team from Ohio.
Okay, well, there you go. But Harrisburg, I still picked Harrisburg. I just think they're going to be mad. Mike, tell everybody about how they lost last week.
Yeah, they had the ball with 17 seconds left and got down to the 1 yard line, but the clock operator didn't start the clock, and the referees just deemed that the game was over, even though the play, I guess, took about 6 seconds according to reports. And State College felt like they could have got off another play or kicked a field goal to win the game, and it was a pretty frustrating time. I'm probably going to be wanting to take that out on State College, but Coach Natal said that he expects Harrisburg to be ready, because they're always ready, and Harrisburg's beaten State College the last 2 years, so this is a chance for State College to get some revenge.
State College is home, which will be nice. But again, I think this is one of the few times where State College is playing somebody where they're looking across the line of scrimmage, and there are people who are just as big, just as fast, just as strong as them, and it's going to come down to who's going to execute best. That leads to our next game, which there is no transition, because Central Mountain 0-6 at Holliesburg 2-4. Holliesburg losers of 4 straight, and not just losing, they were beat up pretty good. They're healthy against Central Mountain. Don't know what happened there, because this is a team that used to have Bald Eagle Nittany and Lock Haven, and it's been about 7 years since they were decent.
Even
500. So if you're going to get better, this is the week for Holliesburg to get better. What are you expecting from this game?
Well, Coach Delatry does warn that they've had a tough schedule so far. They played Williamsport, they played Belfont, I think they played Clearfield,
Jersey Shore, I think teams like that.
Yeah, so they've had a tough schedule. So the 0-6 is somewhat justified, but yeah. Hollidaysburg needs to bounce back, and they're getting some people back from injury, and this could be a big chance, to get healthy, get a groove going into the playoffs, because Brashear does have a win, I think, so there's a possibility they'll have to beat Brashear again. That
was like the game last year at St. Francis?
To the district regional type championship game. So there's a possibility they might have to have that game again this year. So they want to start getting on a roll here. It is week 7 as the regular season's starting to come to an end.
Yeah, and Holliesburg's getting kids like seniors, Hunter Barr and Mason Replik, I know, are seniors who are going to be playing their first game of the year, as Mike said, on week 7. So those kids have been sitting on the sidelines just waiting to get better. So their next games are Central Mountain, Tyrone, DuBois, and Central. So now is the time for them if they want to do something and to get it going here. As you can see real quick, we didn't get another cup yet. Still waiting for that Bellwood Cup to show up. I'm waiting for some of those red cups to show up, like Central Cambria or Central or Tussey Mountain. And don't get me started on the Tyrone Cup. I just don't think it's ever coming. But that'll do it for this week, for week 7. Our guest director, Dan Eisenberg, behind the camera over there. For Mike Boyd and I'm Scott Franco. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.